What's up, party people? I'm never saying that again. It's Friday. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's the 21st day of January 2022. It's about 50 degrees and sunny here in Ventura, California. We are still under a wind advisory and an earthquake warning, but things are fine over here on my Costa Rican island, which apparently I don't live on either. And you can tell by the picture, our boy Mordenkainen, who looks a lot like Venger Satanis, weird, is causing more trouble. Now, this begs the question, of course, because anything involving Mordenkainen's Monsters in the Multiverse involves the brain trust that is Wizards of the Coast. Are all these things just accidents, or did Wizards of the Coast plan them? So if you remember earlier this week, we heard from D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond said, oh yeah, we're going to carry the digital product for Mordenkainen's. We just don't know how we're going to do it. And we're just going to know when we're going to do it. And what that we don't know how we're going to do it means is that because the stat blocks and everything is different-ish from the previous Monster stat blocks, D&D Beyond would have to go back through every Monster stat block, every iteration of every Monster stat block, and redo them to follow the new way that the things are presented in Mordenkainen's. Which I don't know much about programming, and especially not in how D&D Beyond works, but I assume that's a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of backward hacking and a lot of code changing to make all the monsters fit the new thing. Well, now D&D Beyond has said, we will not be replace the existing monsters already purchased by users. They have indicated the existing content will not be overwritten. They are not able to share any details on how the new monster stat blocks will be implemented, suggesting might include duplicate entries or some kind of toggle. This also includes racial traits, which won't replace old material. The contents of the book will be treated as new content. So that means if you've already bought Mordenkainen's Tomb of Foes and Volo's Guide to Monsters and Xanther's Guide to Everything and Tasha's Guide to whatever Tasha's Guide was a guide to. If you already have the previous product, you're fine. They're not going to change it. So whatever stat blocks you have for Monster of the week, let's say it's, I don't know, what's the weirdest monster I can think of? The Grell. There's a weird monster that never comes up in a conversation. Half bird, half brain, half jellyfish. The way it appears now is the way it's going to remain. You don't have to worry about them changing it. But they are also, maybe, quite possibly, going to include the Monsters of the Multiverse. I mean, why wouldn't they? It's extra money. So you'd have the old Grell and all its every iteration of the old Grell. Or more appropriately, probably, let's say dragons, because we know dragons come in multiple iterations. We have baby dragon stat block, we have teenage dragon stat block, we have young adult dragon stat block, we have middle-aged dragon stat block, we have old-aged dragon stat block, etc., etc., etc. Each stat block, of course, having different abilities, different hit points, so that's all one way it's going to be presented. I don't know why I went with Grell, other than I just saw a picture of it, and they are just, why? Half brain, half bird, half jellyfish that floats through the air. Why? The new dragons, with the new stat blocks, post Fizbins, post Mordenkainen's, will either be separate, which means you'd have to purchase them again, or there'd be some toggle, which means you can switch from old pre-existing stat block to new stat block if you purchased it. Which basically means, since the stat blocks really aren't that different, other than some words have changed and a few bits and bobs have changed. I mean, A dragon is still a dragon. Grell still a Grell. Gelatinous cube is still a gelatinous cube. The basics haven't changed. Just some wording and other stuff has changed, right? So if you already purchased the digital content for the books that Mordenkainen is rewriting, you really don't need to buy the digital content for Mordenkainen's. Now, here we go to the thought part of this. Did D&D Wizards of the Coast plan this, or is this an accident? Now, we assume that maybe somebody at Wizards of the Coast might have known that any of the digital content providers would have to rewrite the code to be compatible with the new rules or completely ignore the new rules, which would cost that company a lot of money, but would make more money for Wizards of the Coast because everybody would have to rebuy the new digital content to change it. Now, it could be an accident. It could be that Wizards of the Coast, whoever thinks of these things over there, digital marketing guru, didn't realize that, D&D Beyond's going to have to completely rewrite their code when we do this if they want to be backwards compatible. Or they did realize it and go, well, if people want the new politically correct code, they're going to have to buy the product again, even though they already bought the product. So, yeah. And did D&D Beyond not think, we're going to have to rewrite all the code, so we should probably start working at it now because, we're in contact with Wizards of the Coast, and they would have sent it to us ahead of time so we know what to work on. Or Wizards of the Coast might have gone, we should send this to them ahead of time so they know what changes to make. And then for whatever reason, they chose not to, either by accident or on purpose. Or Wizards of the Coast didn't think, they're not going to have to rewrite the code. And then they're like, they're going to have to rewrite the code. Or Wizards of the Coast knew that they were going to have to rewrite the code, and they're like, screw them, we're going to charge them twice. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how this happened. What matters is you're going to have to pay twice for the content. Because if you've already bought the old content, you paid for it. And if you want the new content, which is pretty much exactly like the old content, just more politically correct, you're going to have to pay for it again. Now, if you haven't bought Tasha's and Mordenkainen's and Xanthers for your D&D Beyond yet, then don't worry about it. When the digital content for Mordenkainen's becomes available in D&D Beyond, just buy that. But I'm going to assume if you have D&D Beyond and you've been using it for this long, probably you've already purchased Volos at least, and maybe Mordenkainen's Tomb of Foes, which means you can either A, ignore Monsters of the Multiverse because everything you need you already have, or B, you're going to buy Monsters of the Multiverse because you're a completionist and you want to know all the new up-to-date stuff and blah. Wizards of the Coast is probably counting on the second because money, money, money. Yeah, so the more I think about it, this feels like it was planned. Because Wizards of the Coast is going to make double the money and screw their player base, which, they're consistently doing. Oh, D&D Wizards, you never cease to amaze me in your ability to create things to talk about. Usually that you're being stupid again. Yeah. Vengeance Satanis and Mordenkainen. Same guy? Different guy. Who knows? Anyways, that's about it for newsworthy nonsense for today, but it's still early, so we don't know what else might come down the pike. Till then, I am your guide to all the tabletop role-playing game news, weather, sports, and internet nonsense that is the OGGM. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you don't appreciate this content, let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 1,000 subs by August 4th, and we'll do something crazy. Of course, we do need to acknowledge the passing of rock and roll icon Meatloaf. Sad to report, Meatloaf passed away last night. Iconic singer known for his performance as Eddie in the Rocky Horror Picture Show movie, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, Bat Out of Hell, I'll Do Anything for You. Just an amazing rock and roll icon has left us. The world is a smaller, sadder place. Till next time, see ya.